I am completely in love with the new Alpha Dot stamp set by Beth Saleka. These adorable frames in this set perfectly hug each letter and style. And I just love being able to create personalized greeting cards with whatever words I want in this fun, whimsical font. Let me show you a fun card project and the tools and products you need to make it. First, you're going to need some ink, and I'm using the Gina K Designs Black Onyx ink. And I have a little bit of the Gina K Designs Red Hot Gingham ribbon, and this is the 5/8 of an inch ribbon. I have a couple of dies by Spellbinders. These are the standard squares and the scalloped squares. I also have an acrylic block, and you can see that this stamp set is clear, so it's very easy to line up. And the fact that these acrylic blocks have these nice little lines in them, if you want to line words up, you can actually put a whole word on a block first and then stamp it. So get some good acrylic blocks that have lines on them, some sort of grid. Then I'm going to use some 1/4 inch pop dots and some cardstock and pattern paper. Now I chose some of the pattern paper from the Berries and Vines pattern paper pack by Gina K Designs. And I also have some white cardstock and some red hot cardstock. Well, in just a couple of weeks, my youngest daughter, Rena, is going to turn 16. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to make a Sweet 16 card, and I could personalize it. I don't have a Sweet 16 stamp in my collection, so I thought the Lots of Dots stamp set would be the perfect set to use. So I'm going to start by cutting out some squares, and I'm going to use the Cuttlebug for that along with the Spellbinders dies. So I'm going to start with an A and a B plate, and I have a piece of white cardstock. I'm going to start by cutting out 7 white squares. Now this may seem a little bit putsy, and for those of you that have a silhouette cameo or a silhouette portrait, you can do this very easily by just making a square and cutting it out. You can copy it 7 times and then cut them all out in one quick swipe of the machine. But if you have dies, you can also do it this way. And if you have punches, punches are another great way to cut. So there's lots of ways to cut your squares, but you can see I am actually doing these by hand. I have my A and B plate and then my C plate on top, and I'm going to cut 7 of them out. And this will just take a couple of minutes here. And of course there's only 1 die in the package of each size, so if you do need to cut out multiples, you will have to do each one by hand. But it really doesn't take that long to do. And you can see that you get nice clean cuts with dies, so it's really not a bother. If you happen to have punches, you can actually stamp out your designs first and then punch once the image is stamped. You can also do that with the Spellbinders dies because they're open and you can see through them. With the silhouette cameo or the portrait, you're going to want to cut them out first and then stamp on them once they're cut out. And I'm doing that here today because I also want to show you how easy it is to line up clear stamps when you're doing some project like this. So let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. And I'm going to cut out a couple of red scalloped ones, so I'll just cut out 1 to show you what that's going to look like once they're adhered together. And you can see the nice little border that you get. Well, actually, I might as well make the whole card for you. It'll only take a second to cut these out, and we can do the card together then. You're going to love working with this stamp set. I love the bright, whimsical feel of the letters in this stamp set. At first when I saw it, I thought, I wonder exactly what kind of cards I would make using this set, and I'm finding that I'm using it for just about everything. It's fun for kids' cards, it's fun for teenagers' cards, it's fun for just about anybody on your card making list. You're really going to enjoy it. So I have just a couple more to do. I have 5 there, and that spells sweet, and then I need a 1 and a 6. So And here comes my last one. All right. So now for my next step, I'm going to grab that black ink and I'm going to create some frames on those white pieces. So let's start. Let's pick a frame here. I'm going to use this frame and pop that onto the block. Now you're going to be able to see that so well once the ink gets on there. But let's first attach these little white boxes to the little red boxes, and you can see how nice that little tiny edge going around looks. It's just, let me see if I can get that a little bit closer for you and put it up against a white piece of cardstock, and you can see how nice that red looks. It's just such a nice little highlight around there. So it's not a huge border, but it is just a perfect border for alphabet stamps. So we'll put all these together first. We have 7 of them. That'll be SW. And you can use either the monoadhesive tape like I'm using, or if you prefer, you can use a liquid glue or a quickie glue pen. These are pretty small pieces, so they don't require a lot of tape, but you may prefer using glue to adhere your die-cut pieces together. You can see these are easy to stick together. All right, just 2 more after this. And we are ready to stamp away. 1 more. Okay. So now you have to decide, do you want your boxes to be straight like this, or do you want them to be diamonds? And I'm going to put mine on an angle and make them diamonds. So I'm going to start with some black ink, and let me get my glasses on here so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to ink that up real well and then stamp that right in the center of that box. So there's 1. Very simple to do, very easy to see. Excuse my head if it gets in the way. There's another one. You can see that black and red together is so nice. I'll really play off that pattern paper, since that pattern paper has a black background. And 1 more. Okay. So now my next step is going to be to get the numbers in there and the letters. So I'm going to start with the S. That is an 8. That is not an S. Here we go. Start with the S and do that one right in the center of that box. There's my S. And I'm just going to spell out sweet. My W. That one's going to extend a little bit outside the box. I don't care. I still think that looks cute like that. And now 2 E's. And once you get this stamp set, you're going to see that Beth included some extra vowels, which I think is great. Also a couple extra letters like T, S, and R. They're letters that we use often to make words where we need more than one. And she was so thoughtful in creating this stamp set that she added those additional letters. So if you wanted to spell out this word sweet, you would have been able to do that all on one block because of that additional E in there. And she really put some time thinking about what kinds of words we would want to spell as stampers and paper crafters, and I think she really gave us the best extra letters that we could possibly ask for. Okay, so now I have the word sweet spelled out. I'm going to do a 16. Do a 1 and a 6. And you'll notice that the 6, there is only one 6 and it doubles as a 9, which is great. There we go. So we have Sweet 16 all ready to go. Oops, my stamp got stuck there. Okay, so now my next step is to assemble this card. And I'm going to adhere this particular piece of Berries and Vines pattern paper onto this piece of white cardstock. And this is going to give me just a very thin little edge, and you know how I like that look when I'm making cards. I like that thin little edge of color, whether it's black or white, depending on what the pattern paper is. It's a little hard to do when you're sitting down. It's much easier to do that when you're standing up. So when you're home, stand up and put your layers together. See if I can lean over and get it just right. There we go. Okay. So there we have that, those two pieces together. Now I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon, but before I do that, I cut a little black panel strip and a little white panel strip, and I'm going to stick those together. They're going to act as a little frame for my word sweet. And that'll just give the whole project a little bit of interest. So there that is. And I'm going to adhere that right about there, almost like a billboard at the top of the card. I'm accenting the sweet. All right. So I'll adhere that there. And now before I attach the panel, I'm going to put a little piece of ribbon right across like that. So I will need my scissors to trim that ribbon down. And this nice 5/8 of an inch ribbon is nice to work with when you're doing a project like this. It's a little bit bolder and acts as a nice accent. Stick it there and that there. And then this whole panel will go on top of my red hot card base. And I always like to add a little bit of extra tape over the ribbon so it doesn't come apart, but you guys know that by now. And we'll adhere that to this card base. And now we're ready to create the focal image of this card, which is going to be the words Sweet 16. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to start at the top, kind of go off of that little billboard I made there, and put the S, and then the W, and then one E, and another E, and then the T, like that. And then you can shift the whole thing to make it perfectly even across the front of the card. And then I'll put the 16 down here, like that. And I'm going to adhere the whole thing using the 1/4 inch pop dots. Now let me show you my finished card project where I already stuck them on. I'm sure you guys know how to stick on little pieces with pop dots. So there's my finished card, and you can see the pop dots do give that a little bit of dimension. So all I did was use the pop dots for the sweet part, and then I put the 16 flat right onto the card. So there is a personalized fun card for my daughter who's turning 16 in just a few weeks. Alphabet sets are a great addition to any stamper's collection. They allow you to personalize cards and scrapbook pages and project life journaling cards with ease and style. And I love that Beth added the frames and the numbers to this set to help you create endless possibilities.